Well, welcome back, everybody. PJ Talks, episode 3. Here we go. So, I know last time I went on a rant, almost sounded like a woman hater. That couldn't be further from the truth, though. I was having a couple discussions past week, and yeah, it's just it's unfortunate how the world is acting right now. You got these debates, which were horrendous. But I gotta say, Trump did not let up. And it really showed what Biden would be capable of if he was in charge. In my opinion, he would get bullied. And it's like, I don't need somebody to get bullied if they're representing me. You understand what I'm saying? So that leads us to this episode. I'm sorry. So this episode, I was having a couple conversations with a couple of my friends, my coworkers, my bosses actually, and we had a discussion about leadership, and some of my female colleagues, they for whatever reason they conflated with male kind of authority figures. And a leader doesn't have to be a man, right? But I understand where they're coming from, because as a Spanish person growing up, the man was always perceived as the one in charge, kind of like the law, like dread, but and so it got me thinking. And a lot of the stuff, like, I'm not trying to talk about politics, but for those of you who don't understand why I support the president, is because, in my opinion, as long as the guy's looking out for you, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about him, right? This whole presidential, and I like to look at it this way. When you were growing up, if you had a dad in your life, if you didn't, give me a moment and I'll give you another analogy that's like more along your lines. But when you're growing up, your dad is the guy that is in charge. As you get older, you'll see if people outside your house don't like your dad. And you can't understand why, right? Because that's your dad. He cares about you and takes care of you. You love your dad because it's like, oh my God, I love this guy. What is there not to like? And so you get older and you start to see that when your dad has to confront others, especially when it's about you, or he has to stick up for you, you see very quickly he does not care how long he's been friends with a person, how cool they think he is, or how cool he may think they are. When it comes to his family or his kids, he will step up, and he does not care about their feelings, just as long as they understand where he stands and who his kids are. Like you see those people behind me? You need to understand what they mean to me. So that's the way I kind of see, like, President Trump, right? I know a lot of you are gonna go probably making jokes like, "Oh, PJ sees Trump as his daddy." Nah, man. I mean, you can troll and laugh all you want. That's probably a good ass joke I just gave you, but but it goes back to that leadership role. I don't need the guy to go up there and sing Kumbaya with everybody. That's not what I need. That's not what that's not the president I need, at least, like, in the moment. We need somebody that's going to step up to the world, because we are Americans. We should focus on our piece of land. The guy that we choose to represent us steps out of our American bubble, right? And I'm talking about all 50 states, and goes and engages these people, right? Now, when he's engaging these people, I need him to be like, for those of you who had a dad, you need him to be like your dad. Be like, hey, listen, I don't care what you doing, just as long as the deal that we set up for my kids to come play baseball, or my kids to participate in this, or that they can benefit from the deals we're making, I need to make sure that they benefit more than anybody, you know. And even if it's, I need to make sure they benefit before your kids. Like, you go to a party, your mom will go and serve you food, right? Or better yet, you go to a party and then they start announcing, okay, now you can get up, right? If you've been to a Spanish party, you can get up now, and the make a line for the food is now open. Your mom, well, my mom, right? I'll use me as an anecdotal example. My mom would get up and drag me and my brother, maybe my sisters, maybe if they were too little, she'll leave them behind. But she would drag me and my brother and have us hold their plates, right? And she would rush to the line. And, we'd be like, yo, mom, relax, man. Like, we're going to get to eat. It's like, no, it's okay. It's better for us to be first. So it was always like that. Make sure your kids are fed first kind of idea. And that goes with everybody. I'm pretty sure every single person, all my cousins, all of my friends, they would probably say the same thing about their mother. No. As long as you go first, I don't care about the next kid. We can worry about him after you're fed. That's that whole America first, man. So that's why I never saw why people didn't like the current president, right? But for those of you, I didn't leave you hanging. For those of you who don't have a dad, right, or didn't grow up with a dad, first of all, I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. I mean, I have my dad. My dad's still around, but as far as being around, he was around here and there. We can get into that story as we continue these therapeutic videos. But for those of you who didn't grow up with a dad, or he wasn't around, he was basically like if you had an uncle, your go-to uncle, the guy that would come over and kind of help you out and do this, and I got an idea how you can fix that, like that male mentor that you kind of focused on. That's basically who you can kind of relate my message about our current president to. So when it comes to leadership as a man, that's why I'm pretty sure, I gotta make sure I word this right or correct, because I don't have any PhDs. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not no expert. All right. This is just me, my anecdotal evidence from what I visualize, what I see. So when it comes to leadership, I can see why my female colleagues will conflate that with a male figure. Now, like I said, my mom was a single mom, so I kind of seen leadership under a female. But I can see how the male characteristics shine through, right? And so what I mean by that is usually the man in a relationship or a father, he's the guy that's not taking anything. He's not just taking no simple answer. He's making a decision. He doesn't care about how other people feel, as long as his decision is beneficial for him and his own, or at least his own and then him. Because as a man, a true man, you grow up, you have your kids, you put them first. As soon as you have kids, in my opinion, as soon as you have kids, everything you do should be second. Like for yourself, they come first. You're having a rough day at work, you need a breather, grab yourself a beer, relax. That's fine. But in a weekend, if you're not able to take your kids out, or they don't feel like going anywhere, because like my kids are homebodies. Well, half of them, they're homebodies. And so most of the time my boys don't feel like going anywhere. I mean, granted, I should push them to go somewhere, but we just sit back, play video games, watch movies. That's the kind of shit that we do. But then it goes back to, if my boys hit me up, my brother hits me up, hey, what's up, man? Like, come on, let's go to the bar. Come over here, have a couple drinks here and there. If I don't feel that my kids are satisfied or have gone out and had some kind of fun before me, I'm the kind of guy that would say, nah, I'm good. Because why should I go? Even though I know I'm making the money, I'm providing food, shelter, whatever else, why should I go and have a good time? Meanwhile, they're at home. Now, granted, I know I just said that they like to be home. But internally, my mind, that bothers me. And I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want them to see this and think that this is some kind of like, oh yeah, now we know how to get papi to do things for us. Like kind of manipulate us. That's not what this is. And if you're watching this, turn it off. But it goes back to like my thought process is my kids and then me. Because I was put here in this position with my knowledge, with my compassion, with my authority kind of way of thinking, I guess I could say, right? I'll find a nice way to clean that up. But either way, you know what I'm saying. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But it goes back to, I don't care about how you feel. If my kids feel some type of way, I'm gonna step up, and if somebody makes my kids feel some type of way, I'm gonna step up and, what's the matter? Oh yeah? Well, tell them this, or kick them in the nuts, or don't back down, or yo, watch yourself. You know what I'm saying? It depends on the situation. But I'm not gonna shy away, and I'm not gonna try to be nice to you because your kid is not as mean to my kid. No, I'm just gonna tell my kid to tell your kid something or do something, and if you don't like it, then I guess we got a problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it comes down to. So when I start thinking about the leadership aspect, most of the time I guess they conflate that with the male figures, because the male figures, we can kind of turn off that part of our brain that's like compassionate to others when it's involving our kin, right? Our kids, our offsprings especially. We kind of get this rage inside where it's like, listen, we're brothers or we're best friends for life, but right now my kids are what matters to me. It doesn't matter what the situation is, who it is, how close we've been, it doesn't matter. It goes down to, my kids need me to be like this right now. That's what I'm gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. For those of you probably saw the book, I got a little notepad today. So I don't want to lose my train of thought this time. But basically, that's what, in my opinion, makes a man, right? It's not about being braggadocious, because men are not like that either. We can be braggadocious with our boys, right? With our friends. That camaraderie, that brotherhood, that helps build relationships, that helps build self-esteem, thick skin, whatever you want to call it. It makes you better, more humble. That's why brotherhood is very important to me. And that's talking about brotherhood. When I would watch TV shows, right? There's like a trend, and don't get me wrong, I got nothing. I got no beef. I got no issues with the um the letter community, right? Let's call them that. I got no issues with that community. What I do have issues with that, why does every single show on every progressive network, whenever there's a point where they can introduce like that best friend of a guy, right? Guy's best friend, like a guy that, when they say if you have a bully, you stand up to the bully, you fight. More 9 times out of 10, that bully will become your best friend, right? And to a point, it kind of happened to me. I mean, even though my neighborhood bully didn't become my best friend, but he became my friend. And Nelson, if you're watching this, what's up, brother? But I'm sorry I called you a neighborhood bully. Probably everybody gonna look at you now like, man, you were a bully when you were a kid. You know you were, bro. But we were like 8, 9 years old. That's in the past, brother. Don't worry about it. But so it's whenever they have a chance where they can kind of put that hey bro kind of relationship out there. It's just they always have to kind of turn it into something more intimate, like intimate, not intimate in a brotherhood way, because that exists, right? Like, but intimate as like in an attractive kind of way, even though that character has never shown or displayed any of those kind of characteristics, right? And I always had a problem with that because you could always see it and feel it, how forced it was. Pause. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing with that, right? I'm just throwing it out there. I want to see the shows come back to normalcy, where a guy can compliment another guy in the thick of some kind of bad issue, whatever, sci-fi or real life kind of drama, and just kind of get out of that muck with a stronger relationship of brotherhood with each other. Because 9 times out of 10, that is exactly what's going on out there in the world. It's more of the, yo, what's good, my brother? How you doing, man? Yo, I love you, man. Stay strong, brother. I'll see you later, right? And like I said, I got no problems with the alphabet community, right? So just throwing that out there. I got a couple people that probably gonna see this and gonna question me. I love you guys. It's nothing against you guys. It's just when you can see the shows that try to use that to crank up their ratings. And I always had a problem because, like I said, you can see it how it's just forced into the story, into the show. Like, granted, there can be a character that can come and show those characteristics where you can be like, okay, this guy, I can see where he's headed, or I can see, okay, now I can, you know what I'm saying? Make it just blend, right? Like the movie blended. But when you just out of nowhere, it's because of one hardship that they had to endure together, all of a sudden they're looking at each other with these eyes, and it's like, no, man, that's not what I see. That's not what I saw. And then all of a sudden, it makes it awkward. It's like, this show doesn't know what it wants to do, doesn't know what it wants to be. So anyway, that's my quick little that's my, what can I call it? It's like my critic of shows nowadays, right? It's my, I don't know. Take it for whatever you want. That's just how I see it. That's how I saw it. So, but that brotherhood is what I'm talking about. Like what I share with my boys. Not my sons, but my actual friends, my brother, my real brother, my blood brother. We have a brotherhood, right? My boys, we have a brotherhood. We're not born of the same mother. We're not blood related. But we have a strong bond with each other where it's like we get together and we start riffing on each other like we haven't like it hasn't been years or months or whatever. That's that kind of brotherhood I'm talking about. And I think we need more of that. I was listening to Jack Murphy. He's the one that wrote the book from Democrat to Deplorable or something like that. On the Tim Pool podcast and Timcast IRL. And so he was talking about how we need to start promoting building stuff like that masculine energy. And it's crazy because I've been writing this for like for 5 days since my last video, like almost a week already. Cause I'm pretty sure. Well, most of you probably didn't see it, but I posted on my Instagram. I was having some technical difficulties, but I've been working on that same kind of dialogue, or at least kind of along those lines, where it's like he was talking to Tim about we need the masculine energy. Because right now, all these riots and all these looters, right? Because there's some protesting happening, but then 5 minutes later, protests are gone. All of a sudden, you got riots, you got looters. Those guys break shit. It's easy to break and tear down. It's hard to build and keep it up. You know what I'm saying? Pause. It's hard to build something to stay, sustain through times, tough times, rough times. And so he was talking about that, and it really resonated because, I like working. I prefer working with my hands. Pause. And what he was talking about was exactly that. We got to start promoting the masculine energy to encourage people, be humble, be stern, but promote building rather than tear down, And aside from whoever's in charge or whoever's holding president office, right? We shouldn't have to always look at that part for guidance. No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't look for that part. We should be looking within ourselves, within our homes. And I know a lot of the problem is because a lot of these people come from broken homes. But we, as a society, need to look there. If you're a person of faith, you have to look to your home because that's where your faith is the strongest. So when you look internal like that, you look for the faith, for family, bond, unity, you can kind of promote that out into the energy, whatever you believe in, but you promote it outwards. Be nice to people, be kind. How you doing? Hey, have a good day. Stuff like that. And you'll see a difference. But a lot of the time, if you're focusing on the internet, a lot of people screaming at each other, trying to one up each other. And that's just what it is. And other than Instagram being a strippergram, because that's just nothing but strippers in there. I mean, there's nothing wrong with strippers. I follow a few of them. I'm gonna be honest. I follow a few, but that's not the kind of energy we need. We need to promote outwards about building stuff, being kind to each other, humble, compassion, stern, discipline, respect. Like the nobility, honor. I remember I was growing up, and my dad, when I was very young, when he was living with us, he would watch like your old school macho movies, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis. Best Christmas movie is still Die Hard of all time. Those kind of guys, and those kind of guys had this energy about masculinity. It's like they were humble, because a lot of the times their characters can basically beat people up, or they were the most badass character in the movie. They were also the most humble. Compassion, right? Camaraderie, brotherhood. The Rambo movies. He was all about his guys, the men on the field, watch each other's back kind of stuff. That's why the military for me always kind of resonated. I always regret not joining the military because I resonate with all those kind of characteristics the most. So growing up, I had always watched a lot of those movies, and still to this day, I promote a lot of those movies. My kids hate it when I do, because most of the time I put them on. They don't like them, but that's their opinion. I don't care. But as I said, we need to promote those kind of values. Masculinity is not a bad thing, right? So in my last video, it was like I was talking about attack on men. I understand the attack on men because we can take it, but at some point, you got to see how it's hurting society. You got a whole bunch of crybabies out there that are breaking stuff because it's easy to break, as I said, and you don't have enough. Well, I guess you can probably take a poll and ask them if they had their dad in the house, and most of the time, I'm pretty sure they'll say no. I'm positive most of them would say no, and you can see that in their behavior. That's why they're out there breaking everything under the guise of, or under the disguise of social justice. It's like, don't get me wrong, there is injustice, and sometimes we need to take a look at things a little bit longer, kind of watch all the details, go through them, but we gotta talk about them. If we're not able to talk about anything, history is just gonna repeat itself. We're gonna be in an endless cycle, So if we sit down, respect each other, and talk, we'll get a lot done. Again, but there has to be that nobility, that respect, that I'm going to say some things you're not going to like. That does not mean you get up in my face or think about doing anything physical to me, So, because that's what you see a lot. You see a lot of, I'll speak on the men. You'll see a lot of men talking about, let me fix this here. You'll see a lot of men quickly just jump into a confrontation. Like, the only thing we can do, right, is as a man, we're gonna duke it out, son. We're gonna throw these hands. What's up? And that's not the definition of being a man. Just because you can throw your hands up doesn't mean you should. Knowing the proper times to throw your hands and not is what makes you a man. Sometimes all you gotta do is just talk. You win the battles by doing absolutely nothing physical and just sit down and have a conversation. Try to open somebody's eyes and make them understand you. But the only way you can make them understand you is you're talking to them, because if they get mad and emotional, you get mad and you try to shut them up so they can listen to you, and it's just gonna spill. It's gonna be a mess. Just a big old mess, So then you start seeing these athletes nowadays, which I'm not a fan. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not a fan of LeBron James. LeBron James, he's a good basketball player. Probably one of the best. Probably. Because in my eyes, Kobe Bryant was legendary. But LeBron James, he is what you would think of when you think of like social media or Twitter. This guy gets up in the morning, he sees the news is aflame. Granted, like I said, there is injustice everywhere. Excuse me. Like I said, there is injustice everywhere. But when he gets up and he tweets, as a black man, I'm afraid to get out of my house because I'm afraid of I forget what it was, right? But it's like, first of all, how much are you worth? Like 33, 35, 40 million dollars? You don't go anywhere by yourself. I'm sure you have your entourage, most likely a security crew. You are probably protected better than the president of the United States. And you're gonna go and tweet out how you're afraid for your life? I'm pretty sure that's what he wrote on his tweet. Again, I don't follow LeBron, I don't have Twitter. So he starts off with that. And the second thing, as a man, why would you put yourself in that vulnerable right, like in visually in that vulnerable state, right? As a man, it's like, bro, that's mad weak. Like, you got mad money, you could play it off, I guess, but that's weak. You don't do that, you know? Our role as fathers and as men is to teach our kids, like, don't be afraid of anybody or anything. Be cautious, be aware, but don't be afraid. Right? When we were growing up, they always told us, do not be afraid to try new things, right? For example, I'm trying something new, especially during this pandemic, right? I'm trying to make some kind of income, some revenue. I'm trying to build some kind of podcast thing going, right? Some form of media. They're talking, most likely, like, I want to, I'm trying to do something new, basically. And you're gonna go out and tweet something that's harmful for young men who follow you. You know, you got especially a lot of teenagers. They're following you. They're gonna read that and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, he's right. It's crazy out here." Especially kids in the hood. It's crazy out here. Nah. What do? Now you put this fear out there, and these kids start internalizing that fear, and everywhere they go, they gotta be fearful. So now, what does that happen? What happens after that? Anything that they do wrong, they can kind of justify it because of this fear that they now have because their favorite basketball player said this in a tweet. And like I said, man, I grew up in a Spanish household. Pride is a very big thing for us. So we'll never, well, at least me, I would never put out anything that's kind of vulnerable, right? I won't put it out there. I used to do it when I was younger. When I was a teenager, I thought it was cool. It would give me attention. People want to ask me what was wrong if I just put on a post like just thinking about things and it's just all messed up. And people get, oh my God, they get intrigued. They want to write to you, ask you questions. Oh my God, what's going on? Why do you feel this way? Blah, 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 blah. People are nosy. They love drama. And that's why the news cycle and you got all these journalists doing these headlines where it's like something crazy and sad and pathetic. And it's like, oh my God, let me check it out. And then when you read it, it has nothing to do with the title. That's basically what that is. Just calling attention for yourself. And like I said, I used to do it as a teenager because it was a trend. It was something that people were doing. As you get older, as I got older, I should say, I just started looking. It's like all of that does not matter. I started looking at name brand clothing, stuff like that. And it's like, why do we put so much value into name brands of clothing, of sneakers, or like I'll give myself some cheap ass sneakers, right? I'll go and get me some Filas or whatever, as long as they look nice and I keep them clean and they fit on my feet, I'm good, man. I'm a big fan of watches. You know, I always like to wear watches. I don't have some on me right now, but like my favorite brand is Fossil, right? So granted, I do I know what I just said, but watches is like was where I draw the line. Like okay, I can feel that way about my watches, but everything else. I mean, even about my watches, like I don't go crazy. I love them, but I don't go crazy for them. I should say. But like growing up, you start to realize, you start to learn, like none of that matters when you learn about if you learn this in social studies about Egypt and the pharaohs and all these people they're trying to get buried with all their gold because they want to take it for the afterlife or have it with them for their journey, and it's like, why? What good is it gonna do? So I see it the same way, especially after my accident. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I see differently. You know, I just I can't be down with that kind of stuff. So as a man, I try to promote positive masculinity, right? Which is basically all I know. Being masculine is not negative, right? The guys that beat their wives and beat their kids and are always miserable and just, you know, thinking that physical strength is what defines them as a man, those men, right? And when I say defines themselves physically as men, I'm talking about those guys that would look to stay in shape or work out to look a certain way just so they can be intimidating to their females, right? Or going around thinking that they the biggest dude around, nobody could fuck with them. Those are clowns. And then the other guys are scum, right? The wife beaters and the kid abusers, and that's not masculine. That's toxic. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with masculinity. That's that's what I'm on here to say, and that's what I always promote. It's almost like I'm a male, I'm a activist for men, right? Like I'm a men's spokesman. Cause too much and too long I've seen the attacks on men. If you're a man, you have to watch how we gotta walk on eggshells because anything we say or do can offend anybody who's not a man or doesn't identify with masculine principles. Like that whole man spreading. That shit was stupid. When I've actually heard the term and I saw what they were talking about, it's like, you try sitting down with balls between your legs. See if you could keep your legs closed and keep them closed. Be courteous to others in public. Nah, listen. This is how I sit. You could try to fit in the space on the bus that I leave, but if you don't fit there, I'm sorry. I could stand up if I feel like it, but if I don't feel like it, then you have to deal with the space, or you're gonna have to stay standing up or look for another spot. That's it. We gotta stop trying. We gotta stop being nice for just like everybody's. What's the word? For everybody's insecurities, right? We can be humble. We can compassion and put more positive vibes out, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna feel some type of way make so you can feel better at my expense. It's like, listen, I'll be nice, but this is how I sit. If you can't fit there, I'm sorry. I could try to squeeze a little bit, but it's only so much I can squeeze, right? That's what I'm talking about. So when I say being nice, it's like, be nice to people, but don't be extra. Because if people don't deserve for you to be nice, that's at your expense. Then you're gonna feel terrible at the moment. You're probably gonna let it linger. You're gonna get mad. So it's gonna go from one bad interaction, and it just dominoes all the way, and you'll have a bad freaking day. You don't want that. So, best way to deal with people who are mean and nasty is just be nice to them and just ignore them. But be nice, be humble, be respectful, be honorable. But ignore those kind of people, you know? So, you can be all of that and ignore people, you know? But, so, yeah, LeBron James tweeting all that stuff, I'm not down with that. Which is why I follow, and I was really good with watching, Jason Whitlock from Speak for Yourself. I mean, this is before he got fired. I would always watch him because he would always talk about male values and masculinity as a good thing. And it was a lot of stuff I resonated. I highly recommend Jason Whitlock, and a lot of the stuff he writes, because he's a journalist. A lot of the stuff he writes is pretty on the money when it comes to sports and men, or men and sports. You know, like, he's not a woman basher, but he's a realist. Like, let's be honest. Women and men are two totally different beings, and that's okay. We all have a role to play. Just like Jack Murphy said on Tim Pool's podcast. I'm telling you, that guy had so much of my points that he was just spewing out yesterday. He was so on the money. And yeah, you know, we are different. And that's okay. We're meant to be different. We're meant to be polar opposites for a reason. You know how they say that magnets, opposites attract? It's the same thing, man. That's why men are attracted to females, right? Women. And then when you meet each other, you got to go upon your values, your core values. What do you stand for? What do you think? You know, what are your principles? Are they aligned with my principles? They are awesome. That's a good starting point, because from there it can only grow. It can build. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I was been working on this week. Is just that masculine energy is what we need. Jack Murphy was right to say it. Again, the guy's taking my points, but I mean, it sounds like I'm taking his points, but the guy was on the money, man. He knew what he was talking about, you know. And then you freaking got that governor in California, Gavin Newsom, where now he made an executive order. He passed some kind of legislation where, I mean, like I said, fact check me on everything I say, because I'm not an expert. I read here and there, you know, the news. I'm trying to pick up my reading on my books, but I'm talking about when I read the news, I read here and there, different sources. But definitely fact check me. I don't know if it was legislation or executive order, where now, if men who get arrested identify, not operations, not a person that has had many operations or anything like that, but identify. That means he can say, "Oh, I am a female," even though I got a pair of genitals and, you know, stuff hanging out, and I got a full-blown beard. It's like I identify as female. They can put those kind of men. They'll put them in the women's ward, in the women's prison. Talk about toxic. You're grabbing up criminals that most likely lie for a living, and just because all they have to do is say it, all they got to do is say it, all they do is say it, and you allow them into the women's prison? Are you nuts? Are you fucking bonkers, bro? Like I said, we need men to lead our country, or strong females, right? But when I say strong females, again, is not the toxic femininity, because it is out there. There's toxic masculinity, and there's toxic femininity, whatever, toxic feminism, right? And these are the ladies that are the ones preaching that, oh, you can lift, I can lift where you lift, or you can run, I can run where you run. Biologically speaking, the man is bigger and stronger, faster than the woman, and that's okay. So when I say strong woman, I'm talking about a woman like, going into politics again, Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii. That chick, she's badass, bro. She is badass, and I don't know why the Democratic Party had a problem with her. But I tell you one thing right now: if she was running and not Biden against Trump, she would have had a lot more of a chance to win and become the first female president of the United States. But she doesn't stand for what the Democratic Party stands for. She is so much in the middle, and she's not for the wars or anything like that. Mind you, she's a vet, right? Like, she's a veteran. So she knows what she's talking about when it comes to foreign policy and stuff like that. So that's just a quick interject of politics. But when I talk about strong females, I talk about that. She's clearly a woman. She identifies as a woman. She's not scared to act or dress like a woman. But when it comes to her job, she takes it serious. What was I gonna say? She takes it serious, man. She's a badass female. She's gone and talked to warlords and stuff like that, but over there in Pakistan or Saudi or whatever it was. Fact check me, like I said. But she's just a warrior. She's a female warrior. That, you know what? I'll change what I said. We need warriors to lead us. That's what we need. You know, not people like Gavin Newsom, that he was what was it, mayor or something, or for San Francisco. He ran it into the gutter, and now he's in California. He's running that shit into the gutter too. He's not doing anything to help. Raising taxes. The rich people are leaving. Guess who's gonna get stuck with the bill over there? Just like here in Jersey. Excuse me. Just like here in Jersey. Murphy's raising all the taxes. Where do you think all the people with money gonna go? They can leave. Who's gonna get stuck with the bill? Think about it, man. Gavin Newsom is raising the tax over there. Now he's talking about taxing people who have left in the past 6 months, to tax them because they were living there. So it's like a back tax. And now he's shutting off people's waters. Like, weak men do stuff like that. He thinks because he's in a position of luxury and a little bit of power, that he can do whatever he wants. And you guys gotta listen, because he is put in charge. And again, this is why we all have to focus on our communities, right? Forget about just thinking about the president every 4 years. You can think about that every 4 years, but every day you should be looking at your home and work out from there. Go to your home, your school board, where your kids' schools, the mayor, see who's in charge, see what they've done, your sheriff, your police departments. You know, like, little by little, kind of expand your bubble. But you need to be in tune with all of that, because that is what immediately affects you. So, to all the men out there who have families, there's a reason why when the founding fathers wrote the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States, right? And when America was born, the reason why the men were always involved. It's because our energy is what's the foundation of everything. You know? Now again, I'm not knocking women, because the female energy is needed also. I would say the female energy, the female in the household, is probably the most important and most critical recipe. right? Or most critical part of the recipe to make a great home, great nation. Remember, Alexander the Great had a mother, right? All of your world conquerors, they all had their mother beside them, in their ear. Genghis Khan, I believe, also had his mother beside him. Like not beside him when he was raping and pillaging, but he came from a woman, right? So there's no reason why the female, like the feminism movement, the toxic one, I don't really dive into that because I don't agree with that. Because women like my mom, right? And I always say my mom because that's anecdotal. That's what I know. She's very feminine. She's a woman, but she's a badass. She's stern. She don't play games. She is serious when it comes to the serious topics and moments, and she'll never let me down. So why would I see my mom, who's Wonder Woman, right? Probably even better than Wonder Woman. And then I'll see what this movement is trying to push, and it's like, nah, sorry. My role model as a strong female in power is way above what you think. Like your that movement's example of a strong woman is like way down on the floor. And my mom is just, women like my mom, my aunts, like they're way above. That's just the way it is. It's nothing against them. It's not that women that are not like my mom and my aunts or the females in my life, it's not that if they don't hold up to their standard, they're no good. No, that's not what it is. It's just you're trying to promote strong female empowerment, and I've seen strong females empowered each other. So just what I see out there what they're trying to promote. It's just way watered down versions of not even strong females. It's just male bashing, basically. At the end of the day, that's what it becomes. Male bashing. Don't pick us because we got tits and coochie. It's like, that's not how it works. I don't pick a man because he's got digging balls. Like, again, you gotta pick warriors, but that masculine energy is needed, just like the feminine one. That's what this whole point is. Masculine energy. We gotta be able to use it, promote it, and we need you guys, or well, not you guys, but we need people out there to not receive it as a negative way. Try to receive it as a positive way. Embrace it, understand it, and understand what the person is trying to promote. Because like I said, we need to build now. That's what we need to do. So what can I say? I think I pretty much covered up what I wanted to talk about, man. Like I said, I stick to these kind of topics because it's what I know. For now, I do plan to expand. I was talking to one of my kids, just a pain in the ass, my oldest, and talk about getting a better setup. This is my little corner. I used to have a man cave back in the day, but that doesn't exist anymore. But so yeah, I plan to have more. More with the youth. Also, I think it's important to hear them out. But at the same time, like I said, it's always important. We, my generation, people of my age, we got to start checking the younger guys. the younger generation. I was watching a video of Abba and Preach. Those guys are so insightful, and they're so humble. They're so lovely to listen to. But they were kind of giving off a list the other day of 10 things I would have told myself, my younger self. Excuse me. And one that stood out to me was be patient. And that is very important. Especially now as I'm a few years older. It's like patience is key. Patience is a virtue. We need to learn and have patience. We're always in a rush to get out to the world and go and whatever it is you're gonna do. If you're going to dominate in some kind of a work field and stuff, we all want to get out there and show what we can do, and always kind of like put ourselves out there and let me show you what I could do. Let's do this. I could do that. I'm fast. I can get it done. That's good energy. That's positive. But slow down. Just take a breather. Take a minute to stop and take a breath. Enjoy your experiences. Slow down enough to enjoy experiences. That's what I would say. That's what they were saying. So, and then going out there and trying to meet every female, and it's like every Jill, Jane, Janet, all of them. Just trying to meet them all, trying to get in conversations with them, trying to talk to them and get their phone numbers and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, man, but slow down. Be respectful, be honorable, slow down, enjoy your time with whoever it is. Also, slow down enough where you'll enjoy all your experiences, no matter how short they may be. That's what I would say. Yeah. When you're young, you always feel like you're stronger, like you can take on the world no matter what. And that's another thing. You gotta check yourself. Be humble. Be honorable. Like I said, man, I try to live my life like a old night movie, where it's like duty, honor, respect. It's like my favorite quote of all time, and I think the movie's called Last Nights. It's an awesome movie. Morgan Freeman's in it. And basically, Morgan Freeman actually delivers the quote that I love the most. That I gotta get a tattoo of in my back. And it says, "The wounds of honor are self-inflicted." Let me just let you sit with that for a moment. I'm gonna repeat it again because it's such an awesome quote. Look, it gives me chills, man. The wounds of honor are self-inflicted. Those words ring to me truth. They ring truth to me, man. I'm getting chills, man. Those quotes, especially when he says it before. Anyway, I don't want to spoil the movie. You haven't seen it, go check it out. It's a good movie. But basically, it just shows where being real, being a man, you're the leader of your family as a man, right? Again, me growing up in a Spanish household, that's how I kind of think of most of Spanish households, right? Spanish culture, very machismo, but it's like a good machismo. Like Jack Murphy said it, he was right. That's how it is in the Spanish community. And it's like we need to be the bearers of truth. We need to be the one where we promote truth and we say truth, no matter how sucky it may be for the other person to hear what we say. I gotta tell you, because if not, then I'm not promoting good masculine vibes. Now, I'm not promoting something to build on. Because if I'm not truthful, then everything else after that is just gonna crumble down. And so when you hear that quote, it's like, as a father, a leader of your family, a man, you stand up to all of the criticisms and all of the arrows coming from the other side because of your stance. Your stance, what you believe in, what you have to open your mouth to, pause, what you have to basically express in order for your family's benefits, or whatever at the moment is beneficial for your family to prosper. You're going to get the arrows first. And granted, it's because you're going to stand in the way of the arrows for your kids, for your family. So, I hope I explained that as best as I can in the most metaphorical of ways, because I'm very metaphorically. I'm very metaphorical. Damn, I can't even talk, man. It's time to end this video. I'm very metaphorical, so I like talking in metaphors, because to me, it was a way for me to learn growing up what things meant by you, because people use metaphors with me, and it really, really, really helped me out. And so using metaphors is what I do now. So as a leader of your family, as a man, you're always seen as this big wall, the shield. And if this wall crumbles down, the townspeople, which is your family, townspeople, will get whatever else comes. They're going to be in danger. So you're the first line of defense and probably the last line of defense. Or if you have a partner, your wife or your girlfriend, well, your wife, right? Because if you're trying to build, you should be going from girlfriend to wife. So you got your wife as the second line of defense, but you're always first. It's like anything happens, something going down, I'm going to step up, push my family back for safety. Guess what? You got to come through me first. And it's not because I think I can take on the world. It's not because whatever guy comes up, I could take him out because, for my family. No. But it's just, no matter, it's just that's what I'm going to do. If I need to do it, it's a fighting chance for my family to go live, or whatever it may be. It doesn't even have to be that drastic. It could just be like, I got to go to work. I'm the only one going to work. I got to get up early. I got to be miserable in the morning and deal with people in the road and stuff like that. I'm going to do it because my family needs it. That's it. Bottom line. So anyway, that's why that quote rings so much to me, so well with me. It's like, yeah, we are the bearers of truth. We are the people that God designated for us to protect our most vulnerable, people we love. And by God, I'll do it. Even if it's on something that I have to go and talk and confront people about something because my kids felt, or whatever it may be. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Most of the time I don't understand what I'm trying to say, and it's very frustrating. But yeah, so I don't know how long this video has been going on, but I think that's enough for today. I think we squashed it. We got a lot covered today. We spoke. I'm glad we had this talk. It's therapeutic. And yeah, let me see and make sure there's nothing else in here. Yeah, no, I think we covered it today. Like I said, I'm starting to do this. Make sure I write down my stuff. I'm not afraid to show you guys because, not everybody's perfect, man. And this is just episode 3. But next video, I wonder what we should talk about. For those of you who have written to me in the comments below, if you want to give me some suggestions on what to talk about, or now, just like I said, I'll come up, I'll get on here and talk about something. You know, most likely it'll be something I have experience with and I know, and I'm not no kind of expert, as I say, but you know, I'll just talk on my experiences. But hopefully this video you guys don't hear the background as much like last time, and yeah, have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'm sorry this one took a little too long, but like I said, I'm working on getting more faster. I just had technical difficulties, and this one took a little longer to make. I might just post some of the behind the scenes what I was trying to make this 2 days ago. So as I said, if you hear the background, I apologize, but it is what it is, man. I'm trying to make it, trying to do something new, and yeah, I'm gonna see if I can post a link to my Teespring store. I got some t-shirts over there that my kids did most of the art. There's some amputee shirts over there if you want to grab some. It's like a kind of humorist, some humor, amputee humor, basically. It's not politically correct, but it shouldn't have to be. You know, politically correct is not, it's not masculine because it's not truth. So anyway, I'll leave you guys with that, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, guys. Peace.